Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders. In today's show, I'm going to be taking a deep dive into ESPN's Mel Kiper's draft grades around the Las Vegas Raiders and our AFC West rivals. But first, come on. It's called the Raiders Report. I'm starting with the Raiders and around Mel Kiper. He gave a B grade. Now, these are the notes that Kiper wrote down about the Raiders going on in their draft. He said that they should have drafted Jordan Love, not just at pick 19, but also pick number 12. He also said this, which I found to be very, very surprising, that he thought the Raiders not only reached on Damon Arnette, but also reached on Henry Ruggs, and kind of said that it just seemed like an old school Raiders draft. I don't know if Mel Kiper is a Raider hater, but I'm starting to think that maybe after reading his notes about us and how we drafted, he kind of is. Plus, he also doesn't understand the picks with Bowden, Edwards, but he did say that he did really like the Amik Robertson pick. But I'm curious, okay? I know y'all have some very, very mixed emotions on Kiper, and I want to be able to hear what you guys have to say. And so I don't want you to cheat, okay? I want your one-word reaction to describe Mel Kiper Jr., okay? Only come up with one word. Can't be 2 words, can't be 3 words. I want your one word to describe Kiper. For me, my word is old, and I think old because I think ESPN is kind of like this old media company that people still go to. If there's anything I learned from the NFL draft, we were the #1 most watched draft coverage, which I'm very proud of. But speaking of old, when did you subscribe to the Raiders Report? So I want to know, okay? So go down in the comments section and let me know. Did you sub a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 months ago? Bottom line, I want to see when you subbed and why you subbed. And expect a response from me because I'm going to be in the comment section below. If you haven't subbed yet, you can see the link below. And if you do hit the sub button, also turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. Okay, so we talked about Mel Kiper's grade, but then also Chat Sports right after the NFL draft. Me, Tom Downey, and the rest of the team, we came up with a consensus draft grade for the Raiders. It was a B. Now, I'll also say that if you guys watch my draft grades video, I gave us a B+ personally, but we got some tough graders over there at Chat Sports. I like the fact that we went out and got 3 wide receivers, and Ruggs was one of our by far biggest needs. Then when you look at, I think, how the Raiders are going to use Edwards and Bowden, I'm really, really liking that. I'll be honest, I was a little bit confused about the Damon Arnette pick, but when you go in to see what Gruden said, and then I think some of his tape, I think it hopefully might lead up to it. And they also got Tanner Muse. Great athlete. We also said he's going to move to linebacker, and once you know it, he's starting to about the number 55. So these were the Raiders' picks, okay? You had Henry Ruggs at pick number 12, Damon Arnette at pick 19, Bowden, Edwards back-to-back there in round 3. Then the Raiders traded back to pick 100 with the New England Patriots, snagged up me some Tanner Muse, who, if you haven't seen his videos yet of him pushing Jeeps and canoeing at his home, you got to go watch it. It reminds me a bit of the movie Heavyweights. I'm just saying, Tony Perkis, he would be really proud of you, Tanner. John Simpson, 109, and then maybe the steal of the draft so far, in my opinion, could have been Amik Robertson, round 4, 135. So Mel Kiper gave the Raiders a B. Chat Sports gave the Raiders a B. Now it's your turn to go grade the Raiders. So I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video. While the ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and get your draft grades, A, B, C, D, or F. The Las Vegas Raiders, they get a B grade, but you know what they say. Keep your friends close and your enemies a little bit closer. So the first team that comes up here is the Los Angeles Chargers, and Mel Kiper also gave them a B grade. But I'm going to take you through each of the AFC West, and I'm going to show you the grades from Kiper, and then I'm even going to do the grades from our Chat Sports team here. So first, you got the Chargers, who they went out and they got Justin Herbert at pick number 6. Not too big surprise. They needed the quarterback. I don't believe in Tyrod Taylor. I don't believe in Easton Stick. Hopefully, actually I shouldn't say hopefully for the Chargers' sake, Justin Herbert can be something. Then they traded all the way up to pick number 23 for Kenneth Murray. Then they had to wait until round 4. They went out and got Joshua Kelly, running back out of UCLA. Then in round 5, they get wide receiver Joe Reed, a player that I've actually talked about a few times here on the Raiders Report. And then Alohi Gilman and KJ Hill. That's going to round out the Los Angeles Chargers 2020 draft. And that's why Mel Kiper gave them a B grade. So now let's go to the Kansas City Chiefs, where he's given them a C+. And I'll be honest, C+, actually thought was a little bit high for the Chiefs because I didn't really like their first round pick in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me because I don't really think the running back position is all that important for Kansas City. Now, they did get Willie Gay Jr., a player that I absolutely loved on the field in terms of his athletic ability. Yes, he might be a little bit of a handful off the field, but if he can live up to the hype, he's going to be a steal at pick 63. Lucas Niang, round 3, 96. And then their last 3 picks where I thought, okay, you can't really totally fail, I think, in the later rounds, but for the Chiefs, they were just trying to fill some needs, and that's what they ultimately ended up doing in the 2020 NFL Draft. And then we're going to round out KIPER'S AFC West draft grades with the Denver Broncos, who he also gave a C+ grade to, which I'll be honest, I'm not a Donkey fan, but I was pretty surprised that he gave them only a C+. You go out, you get Jerry Jeudy at pick number 15, who I like that value a lot. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Jerry Jeudy. KJ Hamler, so I was pretty surprised they went back-to-back wide receivers with their first 2 picks, really trying to build around Drew Lock. And then you can see Michael, Lloyd Cushenberry, McDelvin Agam, a player that I talked about a bunch. And then their last 5 picks, I did not understand this move whatsoever at tight end. Maybe that's why it was a C+, because, well, the Broncos drafted Noah Fant last year. And then, as you can see, they are still just trying to add some needs for this Denver team. But they did have 10 picks. They did have the most in the AFC West, which I think you're going to kind of see in Chat Sports' rankings, which I'll get to right after I tell you about this awesome deal with our sponsor. So go to chatsports.com/Raiders draft hats. I know for like 2 months, y'all were like, Mitch, where are the Raiders draft hats? Finally, they are in, and they look pretty flippin' sick. So now available for a short time only. They are selling very, very fast. We had somebody tell us that they're probably not going to be around next week because of how quick they've been going. So if you haven't gotten one yet, go to chatsports.com/Raiders draft hat. Get yours today and rep your team all season long. Okay, so I promised you guys some draft grades from Chat Sports. Our team actually, like I said, we do consensus draft grades, and I didn't give the Broncos an A-. They had a B+ in terms of my grades, but when it came down to it, it was the Broncos. They got an A- from Chat Sports. The Raiders got a B. The Chargers got a B. And the Kansas City Chiefs got a C-. If you disagree with these grades, you can yell at us in the comments section, or you can hit me up on IG. It's at MitchellRenz365. But this is the Raiders report, and I also know this. Raider fans are honest, and that's all I want here, okay? Is I want your blueprint honest, where whatever you guys think, throw it in the comments. So who had the best draft in the AFC West? Was it the Raiders? I want you to type LV. Was it the Broncos? I want you to type DEN. Was it the Chiefs? I want you to type KC. Was it the Chargers? I want you to type LAC. Okay, now let's dive a little bit deeper into why Mel Kiper gave the Raiders a B grade. So he said that he wanted the Raiders to draft Jordan Love at pick number 12, and it should not really surprise anyone considering the fact that in his final mock, he had the Raiders taking Jordan Love at 12. And I said it 2 weeks ago. I said it 3 weeks ago. Jordan Love going to the Raiders. You can give that one 0 Chucky heads. Tucker will tuck that. There was never a doubt in my mind that the Raiders were going to pass on Love at 12, and I get it. Mel Kiper's this like old kind of dude who's just trying to get clicks. I get it. It's part of the business, but there was never a point where I think any of us honestly thought that the Raiders were going to take Jordan Love. So he also said that the Raiders are going to regret passing on him, but he was not afraid to throw multiple jabs at Derek Carr. And hey, if you're the biggest fan of Carr, Mel, it's all good. But when you actually see a lot of the picks that the Raiders made, they fit perfectly what our offense is trying to do with Derek Carr. But I'll be honest with you, because that's what this show's about, and I want you to be honest with me. Did you want the Raiders to draft Jordan Love, okay? Not just at pick 12, maybe at pick 19, because I know some people out there. If you're one of those people, I want you to go down in the comments, and I want you to let me know. Did you want the Raiders to draft Jordan Love? Give me a Y for yes, or I want you to give me an N for no. Okay, let's continue to roll through here some of these draft picks that the Raiders did go out and get. You had Henry Ruggs, Arnette, Lynn Bowden, and then Bryan Edwards. He really talks depth about the Raiders and about the first 4 picks. And he says that it doesn't make a lot of sense for the Raiders to have 3 receivers with their first 4 picks. My argument to that, they took 2 receivers, a running/wide receiver, and a cornerback. But if you're really going to say that reaching for Henry Ruggs at pick 12 is, well, not a good pick and it's a reach, I'm just questioning whether or not you actually watched Henry Ruggs play in college and watched what he could do. And if I hear one more person tell me, Mitch, his production in college, look at that, only 98 catches, my response is going to be this. Josh Jacobs didn't get a lot of work coming out of Alabama, and guess what? He looked pretty good. But 98 catches, 24 touchdowns, that's production because he's electric. I also think this, though. This is why the Raiders wanted to go out and get Henry Ruggs. This is the quote exactly from Gruden earlier this week. We had a tough decision. Obviously, there's a lot of good receivers in this draft, but we were united on Ruggs. His speed, his strength, his playing style, his versatility is something we feel like we have to have back in this organization. We were known for speed in years past, and we're going to be known for speed going forward. And that's what the Raiders did with going out and getting Henry Ruggs. And I understand Mel didn't really like the idea of drafting 3 receivers, but you need to figure out what you have in Derek Carr. And adding as much talent as what we did in the draft, I think we will finally know what we have in Carr. But he says 3 out of our first 4 picks were wide receivers. Did you not see what Lynn Bowden Jr. did? Lynn Bowden did on the ground. I mean, 185 carries, close to 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns. Oh, yeah, he's a kick returner and punt returner. Oh, yeah, he is a wide receiver. And oh, wait, he even played quarterback last year for Kentucky. Bottom line, he makes plays. And at 7.9 yards per carry, that led all of college football on the ground. But let's go to Bryan Edwards, where the reason why the Raiders drafted Bryan Edwards, 2 reasons. They wanted to get better in the red zone. And then 2, if the whole Tyrell Williams experiment doesn't work out, you move on from him next year. No dead cap hit against us. And then you can go with second-year receiver Bryan Edwards out of South Carolina. The other reason, and probably the last reason, they want more versatility. The Raiders wanted speed, they wanted versatility, and they wanted to be able to do what they wanted on offense. Here's John Gruden's quote. We have the receivers to spread you out. We want to go 4 wide or 5 wide at a time. That's what we'll do. But we have the ability now, I think, with our personnel to adapt on a weekly basis to attack whoever we're playing and play aggressively. What I hear from that to be able to adapt every single week is this. I know you don't want me to say it. The Patriots do what they want every single week, or were used to be able to, and that's how they would win football games. You're going to see this Raiders team do what they want every single week. Now let's get into Mel Kiper's reaction on why the Raiders took Damon Arnette, and these are what he said. He said that he thought was a little bit of a reach, and I'll be honest, I kind of agreed with that. Kiper then also said that he had him as the 6th best cornerback, 51 overall, and then he said that the Raiders could have traded down for Arnette. I don't disagree with his assessments. However, the more and more I watch Arnette and the more and more I hear Raiders coaches talking about him, I do get a little bit more excited. He was a little bit overshadowed by Shaun Wade, by Jeff Okudah, but also the Raiders timed him at 4.4340, so that's kind of why they were hoping there. But if John Gruden and Mike Mayock think Arnette is just as good as Jeffrey Okudah, I think that they at least earned that right. And here's Gruden's quote on that. I'll be honest with you. I like Arnette as much as Okudah. If you look at the production, Arnette's got more production. He's played last year with a broken right wrist. I think he's the best tackler in the draft. I think he's this old school bump and run Raider cornerback that's physical and nasty. And if you're going to compare Jeffrey Okudah, or if you're going to compare Arnette to Okudah and Aqib Talib, which as you can see here, but he reminds me a lot of Aqib Talib, a guy we drafted in Tampa several years ago. He's the guy that has great confidence in himself, comes from a big arena at Ohio State, and the bigger the game, the bigger he played. Those are the type of players we wanted. The bigger the game, the bigger they played. That's also why we drafted a whole bunch of players from Alabama. It's why we draft players from Ohio State. It's why we draft players from Clemson. But we are a young football team. We are a developing football team. And now finally with Arnette as a QB2 or cornerback 2, and then you can see kind of another name down there, Amik Robertson. I think this defense is finally going to get turned around. And speaking of Amik Robertson, the one pick that Mel Kiper absolutely loved was him coming out of Louisiana Tech. And I think it's hard to argue. And at 5'8", man, like 200 pounds, he is going to be bringing the punch out of the nickel corner. So if Lamarcus Joyner doesn't get his act together, don't be surprised if you see a player like Robertson come around who, as you can see, in 3 years, 34 pass breakups, 14 interceptions. Yeah, that's special. Now, I am going to wrap up today's show. I kind of said that I'd be talking about some UDFA players. And, well, if you want to watch an interview with me and 2 Raiders UDF players, give me a follow on Instagram at MitchellRen365 because it's going to be going down at about 9 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. I'll get you the final details, more details on IG. But again, if you want to watch, follow me on Instagram at MitchellRenz365. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.